While Max Verstappen was all smiles after finishing third in the Monaco Grand Prix, his former racing driver father Jos Verstappen was not. The ex-Arrows racer has criticised Red Bull's race strategy in Monte Carlo, saying his son could have won. Jos expressed his disappointment with the race result, claiming that Red Bull did not assist Max in his pursuit of victory. Instead, Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez won the Monaco Grand Prix, climbing from third on the grid to first thanks to some quick thinking on the Red Bull pit wall. Red Bull achieved a good result, but at the same time exerted little influence to help Max to the front. That he finished third he owes to Ferrari's mistake at that second stop of Charles Leclerc. The championship leader Max was not helped in that sense by the chosen strategy. It turned completely in Checo's favour. That was disappointing to me. I would have liked it to be different for the championship leader. Jos was pleased to see Perez win his first Grand Prix of the season at the historic Monaco circuit. However, he believes that the Mexican was only able to do so because his team called him to pit early, a call that Jos believes should have gone to his son. Perez actually won the race because of the earlier pit stop. The team can perhaps explain that as a gamble, but they had already seen with, for example, Gasly, that the intermediates were the best option at that time. I would have liked them to go for Max, but of course I'm not entirely objective. I think 10 points from Max have been thrown away here, especially with the 2 retirements we've had. We need every point. Don't forget that Ferrari currently has a better car, especially in qualifying. Another issue raised by the 2-time podium finisher was the race delayed start on Sunday. Rain in the lead up to the Monaco Grand Prix scheduled start time of 3 PM caused the start procedure to be suspended just minutes before the formation lap was scheduled to begin. The formation lap was rescheduled for 3:09 PM local time in Monaco, but the FIA delayed the start again to 3:16 PM, starting the race behind the safety car. Heavy rain then caused the race to be red flagged after 2 laps behind the safety car. The decision to postpone the start to 3:16 PM was made because the FIA wanted to give the teams plenty of time to switch to wet weather tyres ahead of the heavy rain that was expected on the 2 safety car formation laps. When the cars were lined up in the pit lane under the subsequent red flag, a power outage caused the starting systems to fail, contributing to a nearly 45-minute wait before the first rolling restart was attempted. The FIA was able to choose a standing start prior to the race's first red flag, but the power outage meant it couldn't be sure the start system would work fully afterwards, so it had no choice but to implement rolling restarts for the remainder of the event. Many in the paddock have rightfully criticised the FIA's procedures, as well as their cavalier attitude toward wet races, including Jos Verstappen. To be honest, I wasn't left with a good feeling about the race weekend in Monaco, and that's putting it mildly. Firstly, I think they should have just started at 3 o'clock. These days it seems that everyone at race control gets stressed at the first sight of a few drops of rain. Sure, it would have been a chaotic start and the teams would have been in doubt as to which tyre would have been the best option, but that is what people want to see. Now they just waited, then it turned out there were also problems with the starting light. FIA or the organisation, whoever is responsible, should make sure there is a backup for situations like this and that the equipment is in order. Now we get starts behind the safety car, which in my view takes the edge off, especially on a circuit like Monaco. We live in a competitive professional sport. Things like this cannot happen. Of course, Jos Verstappen wasn't the only one who spoke out about the build-up to the race on Sunday. Teams from all over have demanded that something be done to prevent this from happening again. But that wasn't all. Another factor that exacerbated the problem was the chaotic nature of the race director's messages, about which Red Bull team principal Christian Horner said, "I think that needs a bit of a review because it was a little chaotic with tyres coming on the grid, off the grid. It's a busy enough grid here, and it's always a little dangerous to try and preempt the weather. You can argue it both ways. You could say we would have been better starting the race and then reacting to the downpour and either putting the safety car out or stopping the race, but I think it needs a bit of a review after this weekend." When questioned by the media about what happened to be some odd decisions by race control, Ferrari team principal Mattia Binotto also mentioned the delay that allowed teams to fit extreme wets came within the mandatory 5-minute window before the start. Ferrari was one of the teams that met that requirement with no additional delay. You call it yourself strange decisions, but I can only say that we were a team that was fully prepared on the grid. We had our extreme wet tyres fitted on the cars on time, and I think at the time we were certainly in a strong position, and good for the team to show that at least we were organised, showing that we've got some great capacity as well. And sometimes we're doing the right way to say taking the right decisions, but unfortunate that the race control decided to postpone further the start of the race. Now, why is it needed? It's not clear to me. I think we should ask them for the reason. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff, on the other hand, believed that delaying when heavy rain was forecast was the correct decision. I think the rain at the beginning was torrential. I don't think you can start the race with thunderstorms moving into Monaco like this. So I have no beef at all with the start having been delayed for a few times. And you need to give Freitas and the race directors the credit that this was a very difficult race to manage. I would have hoped for an earlier start when it dried up, but I think there was a problem with connectivity to Biggin Hill, and that's why they couldn't get it going. So overall, the format, how it was more an American football game, so you can go for hot dogs and beer in between. But I think at the beginning, there was nothing else that could have been done. McLaren boss Andreas Seidel also agreed with the decision to postpone the start, citing the need to reduce the risk of accidents in the budget-cutting era. I would say in the end it was the right thing to do, what the race director has decided. I think there was absolutely no need to start the race knowing how the weather forecast was and to rush it, because there's simply no point ending up in taking a risk ending up in a lot of crashes, especially at this track. So from this point of view, everything was done in the right way. Safety first. I'm supportive of the decisions that have been made. There's no point knowing how the weather forecast was to take these unnecessary big risks, and under those conditions there was no way to race. Cars were aquaplaning all over the place. Visibility was poor. From a team perspective, to be honest as well, knowing how low we're all on parts this year under the cost cap, one of the positives of this race day to day as well is that both cars are still in one piece. On our side it was clear with the weather forecast, also that there was continuous rain predicted, and that's why we simply had to wait until the window is opening again where the rain gets lighter or stops. However, the start delay was not the only issue that Jos Verstappen brought up in the aftermath of the Monaco Grand Prix. Another factor was the tyres. The Dutchman slammed Pirelli, claiming that F1 should return to the days of tyre competition between brands, citing the inability of wet tyres to handle wet conditions as the reason. I also find it incredible to see how little grip the drivers have on full wets. This is not new during the last race, but it has been going on for a long time. Something should be done about it. They must ensure that the tyres can cope with 3 centimeters of water. We used to be able to do that too back in the competition days with Bridgestone and Michelin. Another concern he brought up was F1 being overzealous with the use of red flags. Also, red flags come out very quickly these days. Tsunoda hit the crash barrier with his left front wheel in qualifying and a red flag was waved immediately. You're ruining it for the other drivers. So, what are your thoughts on Jos Verstappen's comments? Did the Red Bull's strategy favour Sergio Perez as he described, or was he simply disappointed that his son didn't win? Do you agree with the former F1 driver's assessment of the issues that the FIA needs to address? We'd love to hear from you in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos.